Too sweet! Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. You can find our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports.
Yep.
Dwight, this week was very interesting when it came to the NFL. Across the board, we had like 5 or 6 upsets. We had a tie.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was definitely a little different of a week. Obviously, the game that we would have started off, even if it wasn't probably the game of the week, is going to be Cowboys-Eagles. A little bit, yeah, absolutely.
X marks the spot.
Yeah, what did I tell you? We watched the game together, and I told you that I was mad when I heard he could play, because if he literally plays 16 games a year and only has 2 games, those 2 games will always be against the Eagles. I mean,
Forever.
He just destroys the Eagles.
He hates the Eagles.
I'm a huge fan of Dez, so I wish that we could be a little more friends. I don't like when he beats the Eagles, which he's been doing his whole career. But so he had a great game. Him and Dak are on the same page maybe. See if that helps going forward.
That only helps.
That would mean bad news for Tony Romo, which we'll definitely get into. Ezekiel had a big game.
Monster.
He was unstoppable, just completely unstoppable. That offensive line is incredible, and he brings them up a notch that just I didn't think was possible. I mean, I knew they were really good, but he takes them to the next level.
and I'm glad you said that, because I'm tired of. I don't want to hear this whole anyone can run behind the offensive line anymore. That means nothing when you can't tackle a man, because my man is dragging people. He did it this week too. He does it every single week. He drags people. It's never the first hit with him. It's always the second, third, fourth hit with this guy.
Yeah, we say it all the time.
And you average 5 yards a carry for the season up until this point.
But he's
it's not just your O-line. It's you.
I think he's having a better season than DeMarco did, but I think he's just a more talented running back than 90% of the running backs. You know what I mean? In there, I just think that their offensive line is obviously incredible, and any NFL caliber running back can get 2-3 yards of carry behind them, but he can get 5 or 6 because of how talented he is. And on top of that's the difference. I mean, that could be a difference in a football game, which it could have been this week. I mean, the way that he destroyed the Eagles and most of the first half, he really did. He carried them. He carried Dallas's offense through that first half. I didn't really understand why Dallas was passing 3 times in the red zone there before the interception before half. But you could question a lot of things. You can question a lot of things the Eagles did, including they made 2 55-yard. Well, one was ice the kicker, but 2 55-yard field goals there right at the end of half, and then they had a 53-yarder on their plate and they punted with about 8 minutes to go. So I didn't understand that. There was a couple things that I didn't understand with the Eagles play calling, but I don't like to question play calling too much. I don't really know everything that goes into it. My bigger thing was what I can see on the surface. Drops and fumbles have killed the Eagles all season long, and it bit them again. And that was it. I mean, that's the difference.
I mean, some of those play calls were absolutely atrocious.
Yes, I think both ways they were absolutely miserable. And I think for the Eagles in the fourth quarter, right before the fourth down that they punted instead of kicking the field goal, they ran a play where the tight end ran out for a screen that lost 3 or 4 yards, and then they ran a play. The very next play, after Sproles was averaging 7 yards a carry for the entire drive and a half before, they send Sproles out on a little hook route screen behind the 2 wide receivers, and he gets lit up for 3 more losses.
That's the play that
it was the same play, just the other way to a different player, and they lost yards both times. And then they felt like, which at that point it's still a 53-yard field goal. They made he made a 55-yarder, got iced, but it went through with nothing. He made the actual kick, the 55-yarder, the very next play. Would have been good from 60. So when you have a 53-yarder and you're only up 7 with about 10 minutes to go, I didn't understand why even though they lost 6 yards total in the last 2 plays, they were still in field goal range. I get trusting your defense and whatnot, and I'm totally cool with all of that stuff. You have a way to make it a 2-possession game at that point, though.
You don't
go into overtime if he kicks the field goal and makes it. And obviously, if he wouldn't have made it, what's the difference?
Yeah, you're not. You can't trust your defense in that situation, because the first half we completely dominated you. Especially offensively, we completely dominated you in that first half.
Yeah, in the whole entire third quarter, up until where that happened, the Eagles' defense played really well. They were starting to get pressure on him. They made Dak look a little. Whatever, Ezekiel wasn't getting as much yards per carry, but that doesn't change the fact that they are still that offense, and if you go up 10, it's a 2-possession game. I don't care if you can trust your defense against a bad offense or a good offense, just the logistics of the game go up 2 scores. And you have a kicker that can do that. I know back when it was like David Akers, for Eagles fans, it wasn't even a question. Like, we never really had to deal with something like that. I thought that this would a perfect time to try to, get your kicker out there and try to. The Eagles haven't had a consistent kicker. They Parkey for a while, but it's just injuries and other things like that. This would have been a good way to get a guy in there that I think could, maybe Sturgis can be the guy, but. That was rough, see them not kicking that, and then the defense just, not being able to tackle Zeke was the big thing. Dez and Dak opened it up a little bit.
Dak, he didn't have. This was one of his, I guess, weaker games. It was weaker. It wasn't as great as the other ones, but at the end of the day, it was still just enough to get the job done. At the end of the day, he made the final play. So
there was 3 passes in the first half that looked really, really, really bad, but you're gonna get that with rookie quarterbacks. I thought outside of those 3 passes. The one was like behind Dez to the and it was behind the cornerback, and another one was the interception. Yeah. But really, overall, I didn't think he played bad outside of those 3 plays. They let him open it up a little bit in the fourth quarter in overtime, and he did more than his part.
Exactly what he was supposed to do against the top 5 defense. So I don't believe in.
The Eagles bothered me in play calling that wise too. I thought Jim Schwartz was doing a good job of sending pressure. The entire end of the second quarter and through the entire third quarter. And then for some reason they just completely went to prevent there in the fourth quarter and got destroyed. I mean, Dallas is too good of an offense for anybody to play prevent against.
Too many weapons. They're going to back out there.
But on top of that, I mean, Cole got a few passes in at that point.
That's when Cole
Witten caught a couple passes at that point. Cole Beasley will kill prevent defense. That's what he's there for.
I was saying the whole game, I was like, yo, where's Cole Beasley? The fourth quarter, I was like, oh shit, he's in the game because he caught a couple. It wasn't matter because they were looking at Dez.
Right.
And then, of course, the final play ended up going to Witten.
Right. The play calling.
Too much. There's too many options for that.
Right. There was no reason to go into the prevent. I thought that the Eagles lost this as much as Dallas won this, but I honestly, and we both came, we shook hands afterwards. We both agreed that was I thought that was a good football game.
It was really good. It was fun.
I think it was played by 2 good teams. I think those are 2 of the better teams in the NFC. I know that everyone. I know you
say
think,
anything.
I know you think that the NFC East is trash, and I still think that those 2 teams are 2 of the better teams in the NFC, and they played a much better game. I liked what I saw from Wentz a lot. Him holding on to the ball there at the end of the game when he got hit. I know they still lost the game, but and we don't like Chris Collinsworth. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Anthony.
We're not fans of that guy.
His name's Anthony.
He made a really good point where it was a game saving play at least at that time. I know it was. That was a great. That's something that a lot of quarterbacks can't do, and it's impressive to see from Wentz. And outside of that, I thought playing the position itself all Sunday, he played pretty well. He didn't have a mistake. I don't think he was any reason why they lost it, and that's all you're asking for, especially 2016 from your quarterback, where you can win with a mediocre quarterback, and I think he's better than that. But
I mean, considering how great this guy's apparent supposedly is, and how I think our defense is pretty average. I'm surprised that he didn't attack more. You had more numbers out there.
The drop passes. Well,
there's that.
I mean, that killed.
Yeah, there's that, and that's again. I said it last year too, and it just holds true. You don't have any receivers. You don't have. There's no weapons out there for him.
Beckham dropped his first pass this week, and
wait, what's his name again? What's his full name?
Toriel Green Beckham.
Yeah, the guy that wants to pretend to be AJ Green and Odell Beckham.
And fake. Jordan Matthews didn't drop a pass at all this week, which is good. Those 2, I think, can be. They're not good 1 and 2, but I think they can be your 2 guys. Right. No, I think they can both be good 2s across the board. But I'm saying is and I think you can even get away with those 2 being your 1 and 2s. But you got to hold on to the ball. The entire team's got to hold on to the ball. I mean, there's 150 yards left out off of drop passes that Wentz would have had. It's.
Well, when you suck, you're not going to hold on to the ball. That's what I'm saying. You need a weapon out there.
The Eagles also lost a receiver Tuesday morning. As of this recording, he hasn't been cut yet. But on Tuesday morning, Josh Huff was pulled over on a bridge.
I don't know who the hell he is, but okay.
He's the guy who returned the kick last week, and he almost returned one on Dallas this week. He's the one who almost returned. He's in there for special teams reason. He's a wide receiver, but he's not there on the offensive. He's not in the offensive game plan. Do you know what I mean?
Thin. Yeah. Okay. Go on.
Well, after Cole Beasley, who's your he would be after Cole Beasley on your depth chart.
Williams.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's where exactly. Josh Huff is I agree. That's about the same. Like that's where they would be. That's where he would be on your depth chart. Like
that's about what all your wide receivers are.
I think Matthews would be here too. I do. I think he's extremely.
You don't have a 1. That's your problem.
Right. No, I completely agree with that as well. But he got pulled over, and he had a little bit of weed on him, and the bigger issue.
These people and their weed.
The bigger issue is he had a little bit of gun on him. Can't do that. He had an unregistered gun with him.
So is that Plaxico?
I don't.
Did he shoot himself in the leg?
He did not, but
was
he had
high when he shot himself in the leg.
No, he was. Well, Plaxico might have been. I can't really determine that for you. But I do know that.
Why?
Well,
Why?
He also had hollow tip bullets
Why?
in his car, which is a single charge apiece. So
what state was he in?
Well, it's technically Jersey, so that's even worse because they have harder gun laws than Pennsylvania does.
I get. First of all, bro, you said his name, and I said, who the hell is that?
Right. I hear you.
So I get it because he's scared because he's got money. I get it. He's an athlete and he's got a lot of money. Nobody knows who the fuck you are, dude.
Well, we don't. The people from his hood does. Hold on. I say this all the time. See, okay, people are absolutely destroyed.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
I hear you.
What are you driving around with a gun and weed for, bro?
In Pennsylvania and Jersey, I agree.
Man.
No reason.
That's stupid.
But
reckless. Now you're gonna lose your job.
Like I have more of a tolerance or understanding for the weed issue, and even a little further. Jose Fernandez, the pitcher who died, people are like in an uproar because they found cocaine in his system, and
found a lot of things.
They found cocaine and he was drinking.
That's hell.
Well. Yes, absolutely. Now, he might not have been driving the boat with the whole drinking part, but not the point. Anyways, I have a little more tolerance. Like, it doesn't shock me, or I don't think it's that much big of a deal. There's so many people out there that are not athletes doing drugs that I expect a lot of these athletes are probably also doing drugs, especially the weed thing. Most of these athletes are
just
openly
drive with it then.
Right, I agree with you on that.
Enough money to tell the weed man to come to your house and drop it the fuck off.
My other thing is like on the gun thing, I have a tolerance and understanding, right? I don't understand the gun thing, but I also don't come from the environments that they come from where they feel they need it in those environments. And I'm with you, because it looks really stupid from our aspect. Like it does. And even the weed and the cocaine part look really stupid from the outside. Like I get it.
Mister, I got all this money, I live in a bad neighborhood, then get the fuck out the neighborhood with your money.
I don't think he lives in that neighborhood now.
Well, then none of this makes sense. Then.
I'm with you.
Then none of this makes sense.
To me,
get yourself out of these dumb situations.
To me and you, it don't. But
at some point, grow up in life and stop getting yourself in stupid predicaments.
That was the next thing I was going to say.
At some point, it stops being your boys. It's
He's
you.
21, 22, 23 years old coming into this league. These guys aren't mature enough to understand exactly what we're saying. And he hasn't lived in that world outside of not needing it long enough to think he doesn't need it. Do you know what I mean? I don't understand it myself, but I'm just trying to put myself in his position.
Well,
it's not okay.
In his circle are stupid too. Look, they can't get in his ear.
Right, I hear you. Look, it's not okay, and he needs to get cut. Like, I totally, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying it's okay what he did. I'm just trying to understand where the kid was coming from in the situation. But
stupid. So that's one wide receiver. What about your other one that's crying?
Well, I don't understand what Agholor... Nelson Agholor, you're absolutely right. For some reason, he said that he's tired of hearing about the drops after games. And I wanted to look at... my thing is you wouldn't hear about the drops if you weren't dropping passes. He dropped 2 on Sunday. He dropped 1 pass the week before. 2 weeks before that, he dropped a pass. When you have as many drop passes on the season as you do games played, you're going to hear about it.
Can I add him? So can I just add him as my number 4?
That's fine.
I don't
like Nelson Agholor.
Can I add
for the record, I wasn't a fan. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I can't stand USC. I did not want him on the Eagles.
That little list of people when I was saying that Cam and Odell and all these entitled babies. That's exactly how he's acting.
Yeah, that was.
I'm tired of people talking about me. I'm tired.
It's
go out there and fucking catch the ball.
Yeah, don't drop the ball. It's the most ridiculous statement in the world.
Tired of talking about it?
I'm tired of talking about the drops.
They're tired of asking you about it.
I'm tired of watching it.
Your coach is tired of getting in your face.
Your fans are tired of watching you.
Your quarterback is tired of you messing his stats. Your mama's tired of watching you drop it. Maybe you drop the ball. They talk about you again at the slot. What the fuck?
Your team's tired of losing because you can't keep your hands on the ball. You're a wide receiver. You're literally paid to catch the ball.
I'm tired of talking about it.
I have a little leeway for these guys. A couple drops throughout the season's okay, but he drops it.
Right, and it's going to happen.
He drops it an exceptional amount of times, for a wide receiver.
So it's no longer Des dropped it. It's going to be this guy dropped it.
Agholor always drops it though. Eagles fans weren't it's not shocking to see him drop a ball. He does. He's been on the team for 3 years. Him and Huff drop balls all the time. So.
Horrible.
But now, on top of this discussion that we're having, the Eagles fan base was in an uproar today, and then they became split
Shocking.
after the trade deadline came and passed without Torrey Smith. So before the trade deadline, and I'm not on the side of overpaying ever. Okay, I think there's exception to every rule, and today would have been exception to the rule with Josh Huff getting arrested. You're gonna basically release him probably by the end of the week, and then with Agholor not being able to hold on to the balls, before you were going to release Huff, you already needed to try to figure out how to fix your wide receiver position. Now you desperately need to figure out how to fix the wide receiver position. You had an opportunity to trade for Torrey Smith. They didn't want to give up a third-round forward, and the argument is completely off the map right now between Eagles fans. I say this is an exception where I would have been okay with them overpaying and going for Torrey Smith, because looking at the situation, what else are you going to do? I mean, you got to get you got to go. You have to at this point. You have to go out and get a wide receiver.
It's too late. Trade deadline passed.
Well, right. But now, so the whole consensus is, well, the Eagles, like some people are like, well, the Eagles weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyways, but people were going back and forth. And I literally, like, my argument to the Eagles weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyways, not that I think the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl, but my argument is, in September and October, those Giants teams didn't think that Eli was going to lead their teams to the Super Bowl either. Like, you don't just give up because you don't think you're going to make the Super Bowl.
They're competing for the division right now. They can easily get to the playoffs and do something.
All you got to do is get hot after Thanksgiving,
right.
And you can that is the most ridiculous. If you're okay with the Eagles not doing this,
that's
because
a stupid idea.
That's like the Twitter is just going insane. They're all yelling at each other. It is on fire, the Eagles Twitter, which I love getting involved in the conversations, because usually I'm on neither side. Usually I'm somewhere in the middle with all of these people. Like I think the world in general concretes themselves on one position or another and never gives themselves an opportunity to see it both ways. So I love sitting in the middle, especially when it comes to Eagles Twitter, and seeing it both ways and being like, yeah, I mean, this side's right, but this side doesn't, and no, like there's just like people are just firing at each other.
No, you need to make a move, but
the Eagles did need to make a move today. They did not overpay for him, which again, I'm okay with not overpaying, but in this situation, it's exception to the rule. I would have been perfectly fine with them doing it.
So you can't trade for somebody, but I hear T.O. still looking for a job. So.
Okay, that was another conversation I wanted to get into. So everyone's all on the T.O. says he could
play.
Are
you serious? Like, I said as a joke.
I think they all are saying it as a joke, but
he does want to play.
Right, he wants to play. Well, my thing is, if you're going to go down the route of old wide receivers who think they can still play, no, go after Randy Moss. Go get Moss. Thinks he can still play.
Chilling.
Yeah, Moss still thinks he can play though. I'd go get Moss before I go out and try to go get T.O. any day of the week. If you're telling me those two both say they can play, and you're really thinking about bringing them in, you would bring in Moss over T.O. And I love T.O. I love me some T.O. I'd bring in Moss, man.
No, I'm bringing in T.O.
Oh, no way. I see. They would both be fun. Speaking of, there was a great story about Moss. We're going to get back to the Eagles thing.
Except, real quick. If they get T.O. or they get Randy Moss, that means Carson Wentz going to have to throw farther than 4 yards, like he did this past week.
Well, okay. We'll get into the Moss story later. What I was going to say earlier before we got into that conversation was this was the first week that Dak threw down the field, and this was the first week that Carson didn't throw down the field, and it actually worked for both. So
4 yards.
Well, 4.7 per play was the average, and Dak was 7.4, which was weird that the numbers were flipped, but it was funny.
I thought it was funny, and nobody talked about that, but everybody talks about Dak's and it.
This was the first time that Dak had over 5 yards per pass, which is.
Meanwhile, if you look at Des Bryant's numbers, his average was somewhere between 15 and 20
Where
yards.
They were throwing it to him?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I think it was 17.
He doesn't throw it deep though.
Well, no. Literally, he only threw it deep like 4 times the whole season before this game. Now, this game, every pass was over.
Way more than 4 times.
I think they said 20 yard plus passes. I think it was 4, and then 15 yard plus passes was 7, not including those 4. So whatever, 7 plus 4.
That's not what I remember saying, but okay.
And then all of them were 15 and under. But I mean, they could have been exactly 15. I don't know what all these routes are based off of exact steps, so I'm sure. Anyway, what so they could have all half of them could have been exactly 15 yards is what I was trying to say. But with Dak, do you think he throws downfield more after this now? Or do you think that was just something that they thought?
No, he's just gonna keep doing what he does.
Yeah.
Which at this point, why mix it up? Do I want to see him throw it downfield more? Yeah. But there's clearly a reason. I don't know. Is he like? Do they think that he's just not accurate with his deep passes? Is there something in practice where he's just not hitting people deep? I don't know. Like because they're not really they're not exploring it enough in game where you can definitively say one way or another. Right. I say just keep going with what works, and if you occasionally get the deep ball to Dez or whoever the hell, then just do that. There's no reason to mix it up. We're 6-1. Why would you mess with that formula right now? It's like Jerry Jones and Romo. Why are you messing with that formula right now?
We're going to get that in a second. College and pro are two different things. But what I was going to say about the deep ball is one of Dak's most, I guess one of his highlights from college is a pretty deep bomb. I'm pretty sure against Alabama. And I remember it being like a fantastic throw right on the money. So I think that, again, I know they're different situations, but I think he probably has it in him to throw the deep ball, so there's got to be something there. Back to the Romo thing, though. Jerry Jones is kind of walking backwards on this. Dude,
literally, like we were talking.
Yeah, we had some good conversation about that over the weekend.
Literally, like an hour or two after the game, Tony Romo, he's still not ready.
And
what did I say?
The scenario that we talked about was if Dak would go out there and throw for 150 and 4 touchdowns, Romo would magically be healthy Sunday night, Monday morning. Look at that. He can start next week.
If Dak threw 4 interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. If he threw for 140 and 4 interceptions, magically the next day, Tony Romo will be healthy finally. Now,
that's why
you pointed out, and you're not wrong here,
they're fraudulent.
That a long time ago, they circled the Eagles game and said he can come back at the Eagles game. And then 2 weeks before the Eagles game, out of nowhere, they're like, oh, Dak's our starter. He's not going to be healthy. Now, obviously, we both understand that where they are at is the only way that they can tell Tony Romo that... The only way they can justify it in their own minds that Tony Romo won't start over Dak is if you just don't let Tony Romo play or suit up that week. Right. So are they going to do this the rest of the season, though? Are they going to fool themselves and just say, you know what, Tony just wasn't able to play all year?
They are literally waiting for... No, you know what they're waiting for? They're waiting for Dak's blow-up game. They're waiting for that 4-interception game. Is it going to happen?
I don't think so.
He's going to have a crappy game at some point. Is it going to be that extent? I don't know. And you know what's going to happen?
Because if that was his crappy game, like if people said it was a crap... And I don't think it was a bad game at all against the Eagles.
It was just a little lower for his standards, but it wasn't horrible.
You're right, but they also a little lower for his standards because they let him pass the ball 10 times more than he has all season long in any game. Like he had more control of the offense than he did in any game, partially because they were down 10 points twice in the second half. So he looked good in those moments. Like
no, dude, they're literally
his accuracy's not going to be there.
They're literally waiting, and the moment it happens is that within 24 hours of him throwing them 4 interception games and they lose miserably, they're going to say Tony Romo is coming back. That is what Jerry Jones is waiting for. This has been his worst damn nightmare.
How do you think they should handle it? Do you think this is
just keep going with that? Just keep going with that.
No, but I mean, right? That's what I'm saying. So that's what I meant. If you're going to keep Dak in there, how would you handle Romo? Would you have him come back as your backup?
Tony, you're going to have to Tony, you're going to have to understand. Look, this is a situation. Nobody, including us, nobody thought he was going to go 6-1 or whatever the hell.
Literally,
this 4th round quarter. Like, look, I mean, we could bring you in. We really think that you do have more talent, and you could probably do a lot with this. But we kind of don't want to mess this good thing up right now.
We're also 6-1.
I promise you, when he messes up, because we really think it's going to happen, I promise you will be right back out there. That's what they're going to do.
My worst case scenario would be that Dallas wins the Super Bowl, but my even worst case scenario would be that Dallas wins the Super Bowl and Mark Sanchez is their backup still.
You make me sick.
That would be miserable.
You make me sick.
That would be the worst.
I would just have to not be a Cowboys fan.
That would be the worst. If he's still their backup and they go the whole way to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be...
No, I mean...
I'm going to be sick myself.
If Romo's healthy and they just decide to roll with Dak, Romo's the backup. And there's not...
No, but that's what I'm saying. Is like... That's because that's what I originally meant with the question. Like... Do you think it's just that they can't get him to suit up and be the backup at this point, or do you think Tony would suit up and be the backup? Because I'm with you.
If you told him, yes.
I'm with you.
It's Jerry Jones that doesn't want to say that.
Right.
I think Tony Romo at this point sees what's going on and he's good with it.
Yeah, so do I.
It's Jerry Jones that does not want to accept this, and now this is why he's been moonwalking the past couple weeks, because he's getting people in his ear saying, look, if you do this, we are going to have such a backlash, especially if Tony comes back and we lose, even if it's just one game, even if it's just by 1 point. The people are going to have the backlash, and we can't afford this, so just go with it.
I think earlier in the season, Tony probably kind of felt like so-so about it, but there was legit points in the game on Sunday where he was helping Dak Prescott. I mean, they were showing him on the side. Like, there was points where he was pointing things out to Dak, and after the game, he was the first person to high-five Dak. Like, I really do think...
I tell you?
Yeah, no, he's bought in 110%. I mean, he's a Cowboy guy, so like I think he's totally going to be going with it.
I told you he needs to get comfortable being a coach on the sideline, be a quarterback coach.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you said the headset looks good. Well, I mean, I know you would.
Where it's going. He's where it's going.
That's where it's going. Why not replace Garrett with Romo? I mean,
we're not going that far yet.
Let him be your offensive coordinator.
We're not going there.
All right. Well, anyway.
He could be a quarterback coach or something.
Well, all right. Even bigger thing though, because we all thought that Tony Romo would play his whole career with Dallas. Do we see him in another uniform? In a different uniform? I mean,
it's way too early for this dumb conversation.
Wow. I mean, now that the trade deadline's here and past it is.
Yeah.
But I mean, Denver, the Jets, like Miami, if they get rid of Tannehill this offseason, might be some openings.
I'm saying don't make the mistake of jumping on a rookie quarterback or the success of a quarterback for 1 year, i.e. Houston, i.e. Miami, all these teams that jump on these quarterbacks to have.
CC Nick Foles' first 2 years.
This little roll, right?
CC Nick
Foles. Hold on.
Year 1 and then year 2 with Chip Kelly.
Right. Hold on. No, there's no reason to trade him at this point. No. And even at the end of this season, I would say.
But that's more like no. Okay, no. So
probably not.
I think that Dallas keeps it going. I do think eventually at some point Romo comes back, but I think he comes back as the backup, and I think they need to stay that way. I think that would be the best case scenario for Dallas.
Consider we had no backup quarterback. Okay, so hypothetically speaking, Dak goes down. Damn, that sucks. Oh shit, you mean I got a healthy Tony Romo coming off?
Right.
Great. Cool, I'm good with that.
Not that.
I'd rather that situation than reverse of Tony getting hurt again and Dak coming back after sitting. I don't. Well, just keep him rolling. I don't know if he's going to come back and be great.
Not that week to week teams are consistent and you can really know who the really bad teams and like outside of like the worst teams and the three worst teams and 3 best teams, the NFL is probably the most inconsistent league out there. But right now, looking at the schedule, Dallas has a pretty easy schedule down the stretch to take out the division.
Worst.
Right, exactly. They played their toughest part of their schedule. So
the toughest part now is just going to be the divisional games.
Right.
But
the divisional games are literally going to be the hardest part.
But
outside of the Eagles games, I don't see that. I think that they can roll through the other 2, and I think that they have a formula to beat the Eagles, obviously. So
literally, our hardest game is going outside of the division is going to be Pittsburgh if Ben comes back by then. But outside of that, it's a walkthrough.
It is. I mean, Cleveland.
I'm not saying we're going to win it out, but I mean,
they can. There's an actual potential chance that they can, and that's the scary part. Moving on, because we could go all day about both those teams.
I mean, we should as our freaking teams to get over it.
It's very true. Somebody I like a whole lot is taking a lot of heat in the media for something I've been complaining about since day 1 of this show, and I've actually been complaining about since day 1 of his NFL career. The officials just don't understand how to officiate Cam Newton as quarterback. It has literally gotten to the point where, for the first time, he is done talking about it on the field, and he brought it into the media room, which is bold because you pointed out to me that a lot of players this year have been doing it.
Yeah.
But that is not the norm. I mean, this is not something that you see a whole lot. People are killing Cam for it. I mean,
why?
I don't know. I've been yelling about this literally since he's been in the league. One of our first shows, I'm just saying fully about Cam Newton needs to get officiated differently. All he did was just say what everyone else has been saying.
He stood. I don't understand why people are calling him a punk or a bitch or whatever other names. He stood up there. He finally took his thumb out of his mouth long enough to come up with a thought. But he
has a point.
He actually had a point, and he spoke his mind, and it's a legitimate grief. He's not exactly getting the same exact calls. You can argue, you can say all day and every day this quarterback, that's inconsistent for everybody. Okay, fine.
It is.
Regardless, that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it right.
And I always point because when people say that to me, I always say, well, sit down and watch a Cam Newton game and tell me it's not more inconsistent for him than it is for everybody. Like, it is clearly, you watch Cam Newton, there's clearly more things that go around him. Like, I agree. Every game, the refs miss a ton of things. They clearly miss more hits to Cam Newton than anybody else for some reason, and I can't, I think it's just because he's bigger, faster, and stronger than literally the person hitting him.
Doesn't make it right.
And I agree.
Doesn't make it right.
When he got pulled down on that play where he threw the ball and the ball was literally almost into the stands and then he got tackled, I mean, It's because when the guy fell on him, you could still see Cam. Like if that was Russell Wilson or Drew Brees, the flag comes out because you can't even see the quarterback anymore when a 300-pound man falls on. When a 300-pound man falls on Cam, that person bounces off him and they both stand up like it was nothing. So it just looks like a normal play. I mean, when he got hit in the back of the head, you know, the most famous play from the Super Bowl
that's been happening
year,
a lot this year.
Yes, it has. But and that's literally hands to the face. I mean, they called for Brady every time he gets touched in the back of the head. Anyways, the most famous play of last year, the one where Cam didn't dive on the fumble, the hit was helmet to helmet. I mean, if you watch Von Miller's helmet destroys Cam's helmet, it just wasn't called. Like it's happened his whole career, and the argument that people have been throwing out at me the most is he has the most calls on him in his career. Well, he hasn't had one on him since November, the second week of November in 2014. So it's literally about to be 2 years in 2 weeks since he's had a call on him. Like, you can get over the whole he had the most calls on him in the beginning of his career. Now he's not having any calls on him. He literally hasn't had one roughing the passer called on him since then. He's the only quarterback that has taken more than 15 snaps at quarterback that hasn't had it.
Doesn't make any sense.
That makes zero sense. And he's a superstar of your league.
Inconsistent. The officials have been horrible. The coach has been calling it out. The players have been calling it out, and something needs to be done about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell the solution is. It's real cute that Cam Newton thinks Roger Goodell's going to really listen to him, and really that's going to make a difference. It's not Cam. That's really adorable that you think that. And it's real cute that you think, oh, I'm tired of getting these letters. It's not acceptable. I'm not going to get a letter. What you got? He got a fucking letter.
I'm sure, yeah.
Oh, he did. They already said, they literally, the next day, they sent out a letter saying, yeah, we missed that.
Yeah, they missed too.
That's all they're going to say. That's not an acceptable answer.
I have a way to fix it. You said we don't have a way.
Shut down the NFL because it's not bringing out more officials. It's not retraining these officials. What's the solution?
I have it. Okay, so now the NFL, out of the four major sports, and it got in this conversation the other day. Are there four major sports or are there five major sports in America? People are
if
putting.
You want to count NASCAR, that's five. But
CTO put the MLS in there.
No.
You would put NASCAR in there before the MLS too? Cool. All right, end of conversation. I agree with you.
What?
TO has MLS in there, and my first thought was NASCAR's bigger than MLS, but not.
Not in America. Not in 2016. No. Maybe eventually.
One day I think it's going to. I love soccer. Soccer's one of my favorite sports.
It's growing, but no. Shut up.
Literally, I watch it all the time.
TO watches TO.
I don't watch the MLS though. I'll be honest there, but
TO watches soccer.
Anyways, back to what I was saying. The way to fix it is, in all the other the three other major sports, all of their officials are year-round officials. Like, that is their job. Their only job is to be an official of the game that they play, or that they officiate. Little behind the scenes, a lot of them are actually, like, I know a person who has been trying to be a legit NHL ref. Like, he refs, has a job as a ECHL ref, and the next step is AHL, and then it's NHL. A lot of their refs are just guys from junior leagues that play up in Canada, and junior leagues that just don't make the NHL, that aren't good enough to play professionally. They just take guys who who were playing with these professionals when they were 18, 19, 20 years old. The NBA takes a lot of ex-college players as their refs. They make them full-time refs. This is their job. They don't have the Monday through Friday jobs aren't there for those guys. For the NFL refs,
they're busy all the time.
Right. But for the NFL refs, they have Monday through Friday jobs. Like, this is their side job. This isn't their job. They're not talking throughout the week. They're not getting emails about. I mean, they might be getting emails, but they're not getting trainings throughout the week. Like, your off days as an NHL rep, you're still doing stuff involved in learning the game and making sure that you're on top of your game. The NFL, which is the biggest moneymaker in all of those four major sports, are the only ones to not have their refs as professional refs. So
they're never going to do that.
But that's a way to fix it. I mean, you train these guys. I was with you until this year. I do think that as much as it's been pointed out this year, and Sean Payton stepped up and said something about that specifically.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
But with Cam and all the other players coming out, I mean, Josh Norman literally walked up to a podium on Sunday and said, "Who was ref number 80? He flat out sucked today." I mean, you had a player.
Funny because my man.
He didn't miss those calls. Okay, yes. Side note,
Josh Norman, shut
we both said that. We wanted to look up. So you looked them up. I did too. He didn't miss those calls. Like, Josh Norman's way wrong. He is wrong. I'm not gonna lie. I agree. But my point is that the refs have been so. But people are so comfortable bashing the refs right now that they can go up and do that. But a way to fix that is.
This is helping the ratings.
I think that the NHL has the best officials, but I always say, honestly, I just think their rule book is better. Maybe the NFL just needs to make their rule book more clear or the
I don't
officials
know.
follow it. I don't know.
I don't
Honestly, I'm cool with making these officials. I think a $7 billion industry and they can't make these officials professional. That's ridiculous. I think you need to. I think you need to. And I think after this year they might.
What are you gonna do for 6 days then?
Trainings, emails, like sitting in office. Those you know what they should do? They should be today. They would be all doing a conference on how to officiate Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, and Andrew Luck. That's what they should have been doing. But instead, they were working at a law firm or a WISE
a social studies teacher
or a social studies teacher,
some type of teacher I remember hearing about.
or a convenience store clerk or whatever the heck they do throughout the week. I don't. They should be in trainings and meetings and just like getting better at what they do. If they're doing that, then how are these guys in top physical shape? I'm just trying. There's so much because they are the most out of shape refs in all of those major sports. Why is that? Because they're not working out all the time. Because they have real jobs. Like they're not. That's what those other officials are doing. The NBA refs, you don't see fat NBA refs anymore. You don't see any NHL ref that can't keep up with skating. You don't see exactly. The umpires, obviously, they're not working out every day, but that is their full-time job, and I get that because it's a 7-day-a-week job during baseball. It was always that. I understand it.
That's exactly why I don't see them doing it.
But I think they have to. I think that to get
too cheap for it.
To get these guys at the top level, and if you're going to continue to play at the top level and you claim safety as much as you do, it's 2016, it's a new world. I think they're going to have to I think they are going to do it because I think they realize it is going to be the best path to end this because it's spiraling out of control to the point where not just you and I talking, because it was just you and I were screaming about this all last year. With 2016, the technology and the vision and everything is just everyone's involved in the game so much. It is. If we know the rules better than the refs out there, that's not good. It needs fixed.
Then you replay it and you still don't get it right.
That's getting out of hand too. Things are missed during an NBA game, so we're not sitting here saying they need to be perfect.
No, it's horrible in that league too. But
back to specifically Cam, you said it to me earlier, and I agree with this. I think that if they do fix anything, then they're just going to end up erring on the side of calling it way too much for him.
It's either that's going to happen or nothing's going to happen. It's just going to keep going how it is. Or it's going to happen for one game where he's going to get the call. Okay, you blew in his ear like fucking Lance Stevenson. That's a flag.
Right. And then it's going to go back to normal.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Speaking of the Panthers, side note, don't spend a lot of time on it. Are they coming back?
No,
I agree. But
good talk.
But
no,
Cam played really well, and if he continues to play that well throughout the season,
it's fine.
They have a shot with that division. I agree. I agree.
No.
Speaking of that division, New Orleans is one of these teams. There was a lot of surprises on Sunday. You had New Orleans, Oakland, not surprising, but they pulled off a surprising game. Houston shocked me, and Chicago. Those four teams were very impressive this week. Is it them or was it the teams they played? Like New Orleans played Seattle. Was that Seattle or was that New Orleans? New Orleans scored on 6 straight possessions to end that game against Seattle. Now, 4 of those possessions were field goals, but that's 6 straight possessions at the end of the game that they got points on and won.
I mean, if you look at all those teams and all the teams that got beaten, you look, the competition is just, it's tighter, but not in a tighter sense that it's good. It's tighter because there's so much mediocrity that it's tighter. That's why the scores are so close. It's not because there's these two great teams battling out. No, you got these 2 mediocre or trash teams battling out, and this is the result. You get tight games because they both are on the same level.
But
it just works out that way.
But if nobody's good, maybe that's just the NFL. If every team,
that means the NFL is trash.
But I don't think I think it's chess, not checkers. I think that we're looking at it as checkers by thinking of it that way. Maybe it's the strategy that's turning these. You know what I mean? I think we're talking chess and they're playing, or I think we're talking checkers and they're playing chess out there. You know what I mean? I don't think that's mediocre.
I know what you're talking about.
Right. I think it's strategy. I think strategy is what's making these games look this way. I think it's okay, you did this on the last series, well we're gonna do this, and then these games aren't consistent because of that. That all these coaches are just trying, like Doug Peterson. The not kicking that field goal, just completely why? As somebody sitting at home,
his little notepad telling him on this situation,
and that's what I'm trying to say. The chess, not checkers aspect of it is right, but it's making
stop with these dumbass analytics. I keep saying. My point.
But if you don't use them, you lose more often than you win.
Yeah, Chip Kelly thought the same thing.
Well, he just lost the locker room. San Francisco.
The second one.
Do you think he lost San Francisco?
What is he doing in San Francisco?
Well, San Francisco had...
What is he doing in San Francisco?
Not well this year, but they're...
Okay, then.
Before he got there, they weren't doing well. I don't know if that's necessarily Chip Kelly at the moment that they're not playing.
In general. They suck, but he's not helping it like the Messiah that he's supposed to be, so I mean, he must suck too.
Well, I was going to say, they get to prepare for this New Orleans team that we're talking about. So
good luck.
Right.
Hope Drew Brees puts 600 on him.
Kaepernick might put 600 on that defense too, though. I hear you.
Kaepernick, no.
Kaepernick, he's still starting.
Which again,
still starting.
Which goes back to two teams being trash and the gap being this close because everybody sucks.
Houston this week didn't expect them to pull off a win. Also, the Jets were losing by a lot at halftime.
I picked the Browns, bro.
I know you did, and
I was like, holy shit, I got it.
When I saw it at halftime, I was like, man, usually I foresee these things. Usually I'm the one who's like, hey, I was like, man, Dwight's got it.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, literally, I was like, Dwight could come on there and
20-0.
destroy me.
20-0.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
In the second half happened. It was one touchdown. It was another. I was like, that's it.
Ryan Fitzpatrick heard Tom Brady was playing real well, and I don't know, turned into him for the second half, or he was just playing the Browns. But why don't the Browns just use Terrell Pryor quarterback at this point? I mean, they've now played 7 quarterbacks, including him, and outside of him, RG3 and Cody Kessler, I can't name any. That's it. That's it.
It's the Browns. If that is a
definition. Do they go 0-16? Because that was their. I know you don't like analytics, but according to the FBI, which is an analytics stat, that was their best percentage chance to win a game for the rest of the season.
Nobody goes winless. They're going to get at least one. Don't ask me when.
2007 Detroit Lions went winless.
Okay.
I'm with you. It's exception to the rule.
They gotta get one. I don't know. I don't know what the schedule looks like. I'm sure there's another trash team in there somewhere.
They gotta play the Titans or Jaguars, right?
You know what's bad? I was talking to somebody today about it. I said, you know what's funny? Because the Cowboys playing, and I was like, this would be the one that Dallas would just stow away.
This would be the week, yeah.
We're historic. We've done it before.
Yes, I say that all the time.
And we've done it to the Browns.
The Eagles are historic for playing really bad against bad teams and then somehow playing really good against good teams.
And it's in Cleveland. Yes. I was like, this has happened before.
Yep. Oh yes. It's definitely it's a clear-cut game that could be a trap game, as they call them. Honestly, I'm not
fucking happen. But
I'm not rooting for them to go 0-16. I do think that this is one of the years that we have an 0-16 team. I just don't see them getting a win on the rest of the schedule. It's gonna be not that they can't, because there's been 4 games this year that they legitimately could have won that they played. So I'm not saying that there isn't a chance that they win. I honestly don't think they get one.
The player's about as good as the spellers in the crowd.
Whew, I mean, that was rough. And where is that banner, by the way? The best part about it is, was it still rolled up? Did it just not, did somebody just not bring it? Did the organization forget it? What happened? How does that happen?
That's the Browns.
Rough. That was rough.
It's just great that it was their fan base.
It is pretty funny. Chicago, quickly before we move on. Yes. Now, was that them or was that Minnesota? Because they beat Minnesota, who was a good team. They got a lot of pressure on Sam Bradford, which the Eagles did the week before and exposed how to beat Sam Bradford. But
they don't have an offense right now.
No, they don't.
Minnesota looks absolutely dreadful.
They have 1 touchdown in the last 25 possessions.
It's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
Actually, 2, and they were both garbage touchdowns. Both of them were in the last 3 minutes of the last 2 games, which they were getting beat by more than 3 scores when they scored them.
Jay Cutler, he's due for 2 games a year where he just goes, oh shit, I'm Jay Cutler and I make all this money. Let me pretend to be a quarterback.
He played well. He was the more surprising part than how he played, because I wasn't surprised that he had an okay game. He has good games. Was he was high-fiving his offensive line. He had a kind of a smile, a weird smile. He was looked like he was engaging with the other players, not just kind of standing way off to the side like usually. It was a little different.
A bicycle or anything?
No. He wasn't drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, throwing the bird, which usually looks like Jay Cutler is doing.
White trash.
But he was all involved this week. As somebody who thinks Cutler has potential, it's good to see. I mean, he's done.
Got it. It was Halloween.
Oh, that makes sense. He was dressing up as a good Jay Cutler.
It was Halloween.
Interesting.
This is a fluke situation.
Gotcha.
It was in the air.
It was.
In the air.
I hear you. Ties.
What the hell? Again, mediocre NFL, trash NFL. What is going on with this shit?
Ties?
This isn't good football.
We haven't had back-to-back weeks with ties since 1972. We haven't had...
Isn't this the third game this year?
No, it's the second. But we haven't had a season with 2 ties in it since like 1984. Honestly, we've only had like 6 ties in the last, 20 years, I think it was, going into the season.
Mediocre.
One of them was an Eagles game where Donovan McNabb did not know you could tie.
I remember that.
Yeah, so do I. So do I, because with a minute 40 left and he's just walking up to the line like it was absolutely nothing. I'm screaming at my TV like, "Hey Donovan,
shit made me laugh.
20 more yards, your field goal
One of the
range."
best quotes ever.
Like, I didn't even know we could tie. That, and literally when I
remember trashing him so much.
That was in the post game interview. That was in like literally on national TV. It was in the post game interview. It wasn't at the press conference. And when he said it on TV, I literally turned to my dad. I was like 12, 13 years old, and I was like, "Well, that makes sense. At least there's a reason why they weren't hurrying up, right?" Like, as my dad's fuming, as my dad's like, "Are you kidding me right now?" Like, he's about to go off because
he doesn't know there could be a time because a couple years prior when Pittsburgh did it, really.
But it's just I don't know. Right. I know it's not common.
He was in the same fucking league when it happened.
I know it's not common knowledge, but like it's common knowledge for a football fan, right? Like
he was in the same league when it happened. A couple years prior with Pittsburgh.
This is weird.
Who was this? Yeah, I don't remember.
There's a tie happens. I mean, it was happening once on every 4 years at one point. Like,
yeah,
it's not like it wasn't happening at that time. I get that we have a couple more now than usual, but yeah.
You know what? At this rate, I'm not gonna be surprised we get one more.
No, I won't be either.
And it's all, like I said, mediocre NFL. You don't see these juggernauts out here or teams that you expect to be somebody that are doing it. No, it's these mediocre trash teams that keep.
But do you think Seattle's trash?
Did you see that game?
I mean,
they're not looking too hot.
They're not looking too hot. I agree.
Right now.
Is Russell Wilson fully healthy? Speaking of, is that could it be something that simple?
His leg.
Could it be something that simple? Why they don't look that
He's
good?
He's not running anymore. He's not running like he was. He's got that big ass brace on his leg that he zoomed in on.
He barely moves.
It's something. He's just off this year.
Yeah, it's
at least for the past couple.
It's hard to watch. I love Russell Wilson. I love watching him play well. I don't
playing the same.
It's hard to watch them struggle the way they are.
He's trying to be a pocket quarterback, which he isn't.
Right. I mean,
he runs more.
That was the end of Donovan McNabb's career too. Once he started trying to be a pocket quarterback. So,
I'm not saying he's done, but he's just off.
Quickly before we keep going into our picks, my strongest teams right now. Right, you're gonna be surprised. Okay, strongest teams right now.
Okay.
Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kansas City and the Patriots. Now, I think you'll be thinking, right, Patriots.
One of these things is not like the other.
Right. You ready for my stat? And I'm really mad at ESPN. About an hour or two before we did this show, I saw that they put the stat up, and I thought I was all like the man for doing this. I did research. I put it all together myself. I was all excited, and then ESPN goes and has a stat guy do the same thing. And
he does this 12 hours a day.
They rained on my parade. But I'm so excited about that. I figured this out on my own. Kansas City, in their last 17 games, 15-2.
Okay.
That's extremely impressive in the NFL.
Yeah, they might not have a quarterback that can even play, so it doesn't even matter.
That turns into the other side of it.
They just lost their running back, Jamal Charles.
Well, they were playing just fine without him. Spencer Ware has actually picked up their production just fine this year. I mean, look at their record. It's like Tony Romo and Dak. If you're not, they're 15. They're 15-2 in their last 17 games, and Jamal Charles didn't play in any of them other than 2. I mean, he was hurt all last season too, right?
Okay, well, are they going to have a quarterback?
Right now, that's the bigger question. I agree.
Which is another joke in the NFL, but whatever.
Nick Foles came in and had a good game. I'm not saying that happens for the rest of the season because you know how I feel about Nick Foles, but. Mm-hmm. Without Alex Smith, I don't see them, still being the strongest team, one of the 3 strongest teams. But I think those are my 3 strongest teams right now. Also, my stat on the Patriots, which my shocking stat of the Patriots is, can you tell me who leads the league in yards per catch?
I'm assuming Gronk, since you said that.
22 yards per catch from a tight end.
Jesus. 22?
He leads the league. There's literally T.Y. Hilton's job is to not do anything.
Ass running, ain't he?
T.Y. Hilton's job is to literally do nothing but catch passes over 15, 20 yards, and he is averaging like 2 or 3 yards less catch. Like literally, the man hasn't caught T.Y. Hilton hasn't caught one pass under 15 yards this year, and he isn't averaging as many yards per catch that Gronk is.
So Brady just saying go along on every play.
I don't know. I think a lot of it's yards after the catch as well. He's running people over, but yeah, I mean that people are probably just focusing in on Bennett so much at the line that Gronk's just running free. I don't know. I mean, it's impressive. Speaking of Patriots and Gronk, Tom Brady MVP. Can we just?
Is that even a conversation?
Apparently, because a lot of people are telling.
Second.
A lot of people are telling me because Brady was suspended for 4 games, he can't be the MVP, and I'm laughing.
It's just stupid.
The guys I would put behind him, if you really want to know, would be Matty Ice, Derek Carr, maybe Drew Brees.
So you're literally saying there's like a gap this damn big?
Yeah, yes, yes,
okay.
yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
That's Brady.
Brady, 4 games, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and the most important stat of that, 4 wins. I mean, the man is just
so if he wins out, he's not MVP? If he keeps this pace,
that's
he's
what I'm
not
trying to figure
MVP?
out. He's at, like, if the season ended today, if the season was only 8 weeks long or whatever, however many we played. If it ended today, I don't care if he missed half the season. He would still be my MVP because he is the most valuable player to his team. He is incredible.
That's stupid.
They are disgusting with they're good without him. They are great with him. They can be. I don't see them getting beat the rest of the year. I said it. I don't think I'm going to pick against them. Like they will probably get beat just like the Browns. I don't see them winning out. Like it just doesn't make sense if they do that. But I mean, why not? Like I don't see myself picking against them. That's how good they are playing. They also are just rotating running backs still. They made a trade to the Browns. They traded Jamie Collins. How about that? You go to bed Sunday night, great win. You wake up Monday morning.
I'm a Patriot.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, here we come again.
Patriot way. You wake up Monday morning, you walk in, Bill Belichick wants to see you. Okay, coach, what are we going to work on this week? All right, you're going to Cleveland.
See, that's a situation where I see a man driving with a gun and that shit makes a lot more sense to me.
He's driving the whole way from New England.
Man, fuck it.
With a bag and a gun, thinking about taking himself out the whole time. That's what the bag of weed's for, so he doesn't.
Fuck it.
Because he's going to Cleveland.
Wow.
I mean,
he said he wanted Von Miller money, so Belichick said, "Oh, that's cute."
Yeah. Hopefully Cleveland has Von Miller money. I'll tell you, kid.
He said, "Well, I could use a draft pick now."
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It just continued to prove that the Patriots.
What's the purpose of making that trade for to Cleveland? Even like I don't like they were just like, we're bored, we'll take him.
Cleveland. Why? Because he is one of the best players. He is one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Now, will we find out if he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL now? Yes.
Yeah,
was it because he was a Patriot?
Yeah, we will find
Very
out.
possible. Look, the Dan Levitard show had a great conversation. They think that the Patriots are literally Robert Kraft and Belichick are literally coming up with these ideas drunk just to mess with people. Like Vrabel had 11. Vrabel, a defense player, had 11 touchdowns. They just do things. Why? It just doesn't make sense. Why would you trade your best linebacker to Cleveland in the middle of the season? Why? Because they're the Patriots. Because they can. Right, exactly. They just because they're the Patriots. That's why. Because they can say bleep you and walk away. And win.
You want Von Miller money? Okay.
Right. Now, everyone who's...
Cleveland, I heard you need a linebacker?
There was a good amount, and when I say good amount of, I even mean like people in the media kind of like giving a little backlash about it. And you would think at this point... You would think at this point...
99% right about it.
Right, we agree. Because you would think at this point, people would start to realize that maybe, just maybe, they know what they're doing. Even when they do things like this. Last thing I want to bring up with the Patriots, and I know I talk about Brady way too much. Stephen A. Smith said that he couldn't have Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback, and that's fine.
Yeah, he said
I
Steve Young.
I think people are allowed to have their own opinions on who the greatest is, but his reasoning...
He said Steve Young.
His reasoning for not having Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback of all time really bothers me.
Why?
He said that the reason he can't have him as the greatest quarterback of all time is because in the undefeated season... With Randy Moss and Wes Welker, they didn't win the Super Bowl. And the greatest quarterback of all time can't not win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss and Wes Welker. Can I just point out?
That was pretty sad.
Can I just point out though?
It was though.
That he scored a touchdown. Randy Moss scored a touchdown with 1:30 to play. Like that's not Tom Brady, Randy Moss, or Wes Welker's fault that they lost that game. Like the 3 people that you named of why Brady can't be the greatest quarterback of all time are not the reason they lost the game that you're saying that they needed to win for him to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Now, on the flip side of this, to Stephen A's argument to me, because first thing he would say is, well, Brady's defense won him a Super Bowl, and I don't disagree with that either, but we're talking a team sport, so that's part of the game.
Didn't he also say that he's going with Steve Young because he's looking at the blemishes, and he said to him, Steve Young doesn't have those blemishes, and he feels like Brady because he has lost Super Bowls. That was part of it as well. Wasn't that part of the argument?
See, that pisses me off as well in the sense of that's like, so you're holding the fact that Tom Brady won enough games to go to the Super Bowl more times than Steve Young did against Tom Brady.
I get it because I call it the LeBron James effect. So
but
I mean,
that bothers me too with the whole Michael Jordan thing. You're telling me because Jordan went to the final 6 times and LeBron went to the final 7 times.
I'm saying that because he went to 6 and won all 6.
Right.
In comparison to going to 7 and losing.
We break this down all the time. If you really break it down, team by team, like it's not really fair for LeBron in that argument. Jordan's teams were just way better, but like that he was playing with it.
Regardless, I'm saying I understand that.
My thing is to get there 7 times. To get there as many times as Brady did,
it's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
You actually have to do better than what Steve Young did to get there. The amount of times
he's just looking for a reason because that's of his generation, and that's just like who he always sees as number one. Just like I will always see as Jordan as number one. Sometimes you just find a reason.
Also,
and if that's the reason,
yeah, I hear. Also, on top of that, I think Montana's better than. Yeah, I like Steve Young.
That's fine.
I think he's a top 10 quarterback of all time. I think Brady and Montana are the 2 best quarterbacks of all time. I don't even think it's close.
So many damn quarterbacks. It's kind of getting.
I know.
Be a bitch out here. Considering we didn't come up in that generation and really see it in that moment, it's kind of also just a bitch. Just a bitch. But he's the greatest of our era. That's easy to say. That's not even a conversation.
The
era previously.
I honestly do. I honestly do think Brady's the greatest of all time. But I think you haven't. I think Montana has a real argument for greatest of all time. So I call Brady the GOAT though.
That's fine.
That's all I had. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all I had for before we get into our picks. Do you have anything you want to add?
Oh, not really.
So getting to our picks. Last week, rough. I went 500, 6, and 1.
Dude, we are having a shitty year. So what's your overall?
My overall is 64, 54, and 2.
That's a little better than what I got. That's actually.
What you got going on out here?
Dude, I'm about as mediocre as this damn league is right now. I'm 5, 7, and 1 last week.
I'm telling you, I don't think. So, what's your overall record?
58, 59, and 2. This is the first time either one of us has been below 500.
See, you think that it's a bad thing that you think that it's mediocre. I think that it's just parody across the NFL, and I think in November,
trash parody.
I think at the end, I think in December we're going to be watching the same football, and everyone's going to be calling it great football. I really do. I think it's going to be the same. Yep, I do. I really do. I think people are going to be talking about how it's parody and not how it's parody and just how this is how close teams are. And you know what I mean? I think that's going to be the narrative. Not that this is bad football. A lot of people call it bad football.
I'm saying this parody just in a different aspect.
I like
parody because they all suck.
I like parody no matter what the reason is. I like the fact that it's this close, and I like the fact that we can't. 64 and 55. I can't get more than 10 wins over 500. That's a good thing because about 5 or 6 years ago, I was like 25 wins over 500 at one point.
Yeah, I was telling you last year, there was a period when I was doing these things weekly for money and
me too,
and these just pools and getting 12 wins a week, 13, 14 wins a week.
Yep.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing anymore.
And
I'm watching more football now than I was then.
It's the parody, man. I'm telling you. All right, so the great Color Rush game. You know how that's a big deal. The Color Rush game of the week. No, go back to calling it Thursday night. All right, I'll call it Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football this week is Atlanta playing Tampa Bay.
Was this the first time in how long that this actually might be decent? Like it might actually be worth watching? I'm going Atlanta.
I'm taking Atlanta as well. I'm actually more concerned of does Atlanta get to wear all black and then Tampa wears all like gold, like they're dark gold, or they're going all green or all red, right? Tampa's going all red, and then we're gonna make Atlanta wear all white. That's how this is gonna work. It's gonna
be the Green Bay situation where Tampa wears all white.
Super annoying.
I can see Tampa wearing all white.
I could too.
Ugh,
super
with
annoying.
The red outline.
Super annoying if this is the case.
Can we just stop this shit? It's not cool. It's so.
Well, they can make it cool.
First year.
It can be cool, and they can make it cool. They're just not doing a good. They're messing it up. Like it can actually be cool. I really do. I like the concept, and I think that.
It's elementary.
Well, also
they're trying so hard to compete with this college football where we change our jerseys and it looks so good in Oregon. Yeah, that's Oregon.
Also, the fact that they won't let them change their helmets throughout the year kind of ruins this as well. So
that's foolish.
Foolish. The Jets taking on Miami this week. This one's in Miami. I'm taking the Dolphins, though I had a hard time with it because both teams really struggled with Cleveland, and both teams, they've just been struggling in general. I got Miami, though.
I'm going Miami.
Jacksonville taking on Kansas City. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Even if Nick Foles is the starter, the way that Kansas City has been playing and the way that Jacksonville has been playing, I got to go Kansas City.
I have Kansas City, and regardless of who the quarterback is, it's Jacksonville.
The way they use Spencer Ware, I think Kansas City is just going to be fine anyways. Dallas taking on Cleveland. You said it could be a trap game. I'm taking Dallas, though.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas. They damn well better win this game. There's really no excuse. And if they lose, then you know what's funny how I can't stand how the media operates, because if they do lose, then it becomes, well, this because of this. They actually suck, and it's like, well, then don't for the whole rest of the time say that they're great. This is what the media does, and I hate it. It's so freaking annoying. Either they're great or they suck. Pick one.
I agree.
Not from day to day.
I'm gonna say that Dallas doesn't slip up though on the thought.
You would hope so.
Ezekiel Elliott is going back to Ohio. And he's played at Ohio State. I think he's going to want to have a pretty big game in front of those fans. Because I think a lot of the fans, I think even the Cleveland Browns fans, they're going to be there to see him as well.
So you're saying he's going to drop 200?
I think that there's an opportunity that he's going to put in a pretty rough game, like in a good way.
Good.
Detroit taking on Minnesota, another one that I just threw my arms in the air in frustration that these two are playing each other right now. Detroit, you could do the same thing with them after last week.
Can't stand it.
They couldn't put up anything against Houston. 14 points from Matt Stafford, who I finally said, all of these journalists might be right. He might be the best quarterback since last November. Goes out and puts 14 points up. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't even know who to pick. Look,
dude, Sam Bradford and Matthew Stafford, it's the same person. I don't care what anybody says.
I'm gonna take Detroit on the sense of I don't think the Vikings offense can score 10 points in this game, like more than 10 points in this game. But this is the game.
Detroit though?
Against Chicago, they literally only put up 10. Look, when I say that I'm taking Detroit for that reason, you know what that just means, that Minnesota is going to score 45 this week. Like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm taking Detroit.
I'm going Minnesota at home with that defense. Yeah. Maybe they can get a pick 6 and make it 17. I don't know. Christ.
Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore. Moving on. I don't think Big Ben's going to play, even though they do say he's been taking snaps with the first team. I'm taking Baltimore in this one. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I've been taking Baltimore all year long. They've lost a lot of close ones lately. Baltimore's offensive line is still trash, but I don't think Pittsburgh's defense is that good. Yeah. I'm going with Baltimore.
Yeah, it's usually tight-knit no matter who the quarterback situation is.
That's an Eagles-Dallas situation. They always play each other.
It's a situation where I have Baltimore just because they're at home, and there's no excuse why they shouldn't win in this situation against a division rival.
Speaking against Eagles-Dallas, the Eagles taking on the Giants this week.
Oh, this makes me
up in the Meadowlands.
Slice my wrist.
Or MetLife Stadium, or whatever they call it now. I'm taking the Eagles, but they might be walking in there with me as a wide receiver at this point. I don't know. That's my biggest concern is obviously the 3, 4, and 5 wide receiver. What do they do with the Huff situation and with Agholor not catching balls? How are they going to handle themselves? I'm still taking the Eagles, though. I think that defense can do what they do against Eli in that offense. I don't think outside of Odell, the offense is that strong.
No,
I don't think they're going to be able to run on the Eagles all that much. Hopefully I'm right, and that will be the difference. I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm taking Philadelphia. I think they're, at least offensively, I just trust, as pathetic as it is because Eli has 2 Super Bowls, I would still trust Carson Wentz more so than I trust E-Cry Manning. And O-Cry Beckham Jr. I'm going Philadelphia. As much as it makes me want to, just do one of these numbers, I'm just going with it.
Cam gets to go out and play in Hollywood this week. I mean, what else is set up bigger for a guy like Cam Newton, right? He gets to play in L.A.
So he's going to show up.
I hope so. I think so. I got Carolina beating them. LA's got a really good defense, but honestly, I got Carolina beating them because I don't think LA's offense.
About offense, dude. What is up with somebody? Does Gurley? Does he know that the season started?
It's not him. with as bad of his quarterback is, that is not him. They're literally...
He's not running it any better.
Yeah. When you're getting touched...
Hand the ball to him.
When he's getting touched a yard behind the... He's still averaging 3 yards a carry, and literally the point of contact for him is 2 yards behind the line.
He's averaging, what, like 50-some yards a game? Or it was under 60.
But if you take in the negative yardage that he's... Where he's getting touched to where he's falling, he would be at almost 112 yards a game. Like, it's not his fault that this is happening. They're loading 8 in the box.
I'm asking him to show up.
And they're saying... No, it's not him. I'm saying...
Put it on him.
But their quarterback, I mean, Case Keenum.
Yeah, he's trash.
Teams
are
getting
rid of him, so figure it out.
Teams are literally, it's how's Todd.
He didn't have a quarterback last year, and he figured it out.
Todd Gurley, I don't think this is his fault. They're loading.
I don't think he realizes we're in week 9.
Their teams are literally saying, we're just gonna go all out, not let Todd Gurley beat us, and if Case Keenum can do it, then go for it. And he hasn't. Like, he just, in the beginning of the season, he did. But that was more their defense than their offense.
In the beginning of the season, it was
right, exactly. He wasn't doing anything special. Their offense is not moving the ball, and it's solely because they're literally, teams are trying to only stop Todd Gurley, and that's all they're doing, and they're winning. So why would you want to try to do more? I got Carolina for that reason, more than Cam showing up.
They're 1-2 at home. It's about to be 1-3. I got Carolina. Gurley needs to show up. I don't say whatever the hell you want. Just show the fuck up. Have a game. Just have a game. Figure it out. Stack the box. Fucking we'll go around the motherfucker. Figure it out.
It's an NFL defense. Like, figure it out. If you got 3 guys coming at you, even if you're Todd Gurley or Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott's running through them.
But I think
ran through 3 Eagles.
But I think if you put Ezekiel Elliott behind that Rams offense, I don't think that offensive line and in that Rams system, he's not.
Like I said, he figured it out last year. He's
not going to have much better of a season. He might have a better season, but it ain't going to be a much better season than what Todd Gurley's doing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like I said, he had it all jam-packed last year, being Hall of Fame worthy.
Speaking of Hall of Fame worthy, Drew Brees is taking on San Francisco this week.
Breezes.
I got them winning. Their defense has played better over the last couple of weeks, which is weird. I know last week was against the Seahawks, and we talked about it's more the Seahawks' offensive struggles than anything. Obviously, New Orleans' offense is New Orleans' offense. San Francisco has been bad all year. I'm taking the Saints.
Saints.
Are the Saints back? Like, are they like, no? Okay.
No, don't even humor that. No.
The Colts taking on Green Bay. I'm taking the Colts.
I knew you were. That's not even a shock. I'm going Green Bay.
I do think that Green Bay's defense is much better than the Colts' defense. So but I think that Andrew Luck can still do his thing and beat them.
In Green Bay.
Yeah, I do.
I'm going Aaron Rodgers. Which, by the way, I was telling you I was looking at a bunch of stats earlier today because my job's worthless and I don't have a job and my job is to figure out some shit and just do whatever the fuck I want. So I was sitting at a computer, right? I was looking at all these stats. Aaron Rodgers isn't having a bad year. If you look at his numbers compared up until this point, he has a better completion percentage. He has more yards a game. He's on pace to have a normal Aaron Rodgers year. They're just not getting a W. What is the reason for that? I don't know. I don't watch enough Green Bay. I'm sure you're going to tell me, but I don't know. But he's not playing horrible. So this whole Aaron Rodgers is playing bad shit. I don't understand. He needs to calm down. He's not playing bad.
I've never said he's playing bad.
Oh, there's a lot of people saying there's bad Aaron Rodgers, bad Aaron Rodgers. When he wins, he's great. But when he loses, it's not on him now. I don't know who the hell it's on because when I look at his numbers and when I watch him, I'm like, that's Aaron Rodgers.
There's a lot of things their defense has been doing. In that game against Minnesota, their defense didn't stop Minnesota all that well in the crucial moments. Aaron Rodgers also, while he's putting up the yards and stats, they're not getting in the end zone as much. I'm not saying that's Rodgers' fault.
They're just not winning.
There's something happening. Well, they're not they're getting to the red zone. Between the 20s, Rodgers is still playing extremely well. It's inside the 20 that I'm not really sure what's going on. They're putting up field goals, not touchdowns. You're not going to win a lot of games that way.
Doesn't make any sense. Mike McCarthy. That's the real issue.
I mean, very possible. Very possible.
Every time he tries to call plays, he fucks it up. I don't know why he keeps coming back.
Well, I have the Colts winning, though. I do think that Andrew Luck can kind of run around on that defense, and if he uses his legs a little bit, I don't think that the defense is going to figure out a way to stop them. It's not like they have a lethal offense or anything, though. Tennessee taking on San Diego, 2 mediocre teams that win games that they shouldn't sometimes and then lose games that they shouldn't sometimes, and can't figure out either of them. Mariota's played much better the last 3 weeks.
He's looking a little better.
His entire career.
Still looking miserable. Like he's as far as
but I don't think he's
overall, he's still having a bad year.
Yeah, no.
Especially compared to how he was last year.
He
didn't rise. He's on pace to do the exact same thing.
He plays extremely well on the road compared to at home. He only has 2 interceptions his whole career on the road. I don't know why or what the issue is or whatever, but because it's on the road, I'm taking Tennessee. It really wouldn't shock me to see either of these teams win.
No. This was actually kind of difficult. I'm going Tennessee just because I think they can just ride with DeMarco, and because DeMarco's he's still balling out. So
if they put up 30 2 of the last 3 weeks. Gotta go. I don't know.
Against San Diego, I would hope that you can do that.
Their defense isn't any good because they have all the injuries on that side of the ball. So we have a really good Sunday night game. We were talking about how the primetime games weren't any good. We have a good Thursday night game. We have a great Sunday night game this week. Denver is taking on Oakland. I know you don't get excited about the Raiders like I do, and I know you don't think it's a good game like I do. The Raiders, the one thing I will say, really bad at home.
That's funny that you said it because I actually think they're going to get this little upset.
I picked them to win.
I'm going with Oakland in this situation.
They beat Denver last year.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's great. I think they're due for it.
It's a divisional game. It happens. But I got Oakland as well on the sense of I think Carr is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, he's playing very well right now. It's more so like I know Denver, obviously their defense or whatever the hell, but I mean their quarterback situation is just too much of a mess right now, and it's a primetime situation. I think Oakland's just gonna magically show for a game and have a good enough game to win this.
I think this will be really big for Oakland in their sense of winning the division because they already have
blow them heads up.
They already lost a home game, a home division game to Kansas City this year, so they they're more needed than ever. I'm taking Oakland because of like I said about Carr. He had a historically good week. Literally, like he's one of 3 quarterbacks to do what he did this week ever, which it's
500 yards
in 4 touchdowns. It's impressive. Comeback victory. The thing is most of their wins and most of his great games come on the road. They can't figure out how to do it in the Coliseum. This will be prime time. I mean, this is probably I think this is the first time he's ever started a prime time game. This is going to be a really big deal for Oakland. I can't remember the last time they were, other than Thursday night games, which every team is obligated for a Thursday night game every 2 years. Other than Thursday night games, I can't remember a Sunday night or a Monday night game that Oakland was featured in. That's awesome, and that's good for their fan base. I think it's going to be crazy in there. It's the national game of the week. I got them.
And all that said, now they're going to lose.
Maybe. Buffalo, flying across country for the Monday night game to take on Seattle. I kind of had a hard time with this, even though I felt like I shouldn't have. I took Seattle. Percy Harvin coming back. Woo! LaShawn McCoy might be.
That's great for my fantasy team.
That would be good for the Bills as well, because they can't seem to figure out how to run the ball without him.
The Ryan brothers can't seem to figure out how to,
Well, lucky for them, they're facing a struggling Seattle offense this week. I'm taking Seattle, though. I do think Seattle can figure it out. I also, my stat earlier about the Saints scoring on their last 6 possessions against Seattle, they're not going to come out on national TV and let the Bills then do the same kind of thing against them. They're going to be angry, mad, and embarrassed. Tyrod Taylor, low-key, having a pretty good year, especially after that contract that I even personally, I'm not even just saying everybody, I'm going to say me personally, made fun of him for. Because I know a lot of it's not guaranteed, but it's still funny he's getting a ton of money the way he is. He's playing low-key, really good season. Good enough season to take your team to the playoffs if they were healthy all around him. Not saying he would, but I'm saying he's not the reason of why they're not winning these games, and that's all you're asking for. He also is a quarterback that takes shots that he shouldn't. He was about 4 yards out of bounds this week, and he took an absolute brutal shot that, I'm guessing the ref just decided not to see it. I don't know. I mean, he was literally 4 steps out of bounds.
Maybe it's a black quarterback thing.
But see, my thing is, I thought that too. I did, because I think a lot of things with Cam in general are raised. But Ben and Luck don't get the same treatment that he gets. It's a size thing with those two. I don't know about the Tyrod Taylor situation this weekend, but it's a size thing. When you're talking those 3 quarterbacks, the reason they get treated differently is because they're the only 3 quarterbacks in the league that when a linebacker hits them, they are bigger than the linebacker. You know what I mean? So it's not natural to see, and usually the linebacker bounces backwards, not those 3. But I got Seattle.
Now that you went on that history lesson, I'm going to Seattle. That's all I got.
I don't like picking Pete Carroll to win as many times as I do.
I don't like pick. I'm starting to. I'm starting to wonder why I keep going Buffalo because I hate the Ryan brothers collectively. So
you didn't pick Buffalo, you picked Seattle.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's why I need
because
to stop
they've been playing good the last couple
I need to
of
stop
weeks,
every other week saying I believe in them, I don't believe in them, because in reality I need to just not believe in them because they are the Ryan brothers. This is the Buffalo Bills, and they are exactly what Dennis Green would say that he thought they were.
Well, see, I think that there's we're getting into the second half of the season where runs start to happen and things start to be made. So they got their 2 Patriot games out of the way. I think they can make.
Correct.
But they got their 2 Patriot. They won one, got destroyed in the other. Their 2 Patriot games are out of the way, and they still have half the season to play. They would take that every year. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs the way their schedule sets up. They got to get healthy though. Like Shady's got to come back, or else they're not going to do anything as they prove.
Yeah, that's huge.
The last 2 weeks.
Percy Harvin could care less about.
Well, I was joking about it. I mean, it's funny that he unretired.
It's
but
adorable.
You know how is he going to help?
Speaking of adorable retirements,
Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth, arguably the greatest shot of all time. Arguably.
That saved LeBron James' career.
Arguably.
Fact.
You think it's the greatest shot of all time?
It's a fact that it saved his career.
I don't know if it saved it. I think LeBron would still be the best player in the world in 2016.
Saved his legacy is what I'm saying.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
I don't disagree with that. It helped his legacy a whole lot. A whole lot.
Hell of a shooter. But he's been retired for like 10 years now.
He has been retired for
10 years.
The 2 full
15,
seasons. He hasn't
pretty
played,
sure it's been 20.
He hasn't played for 2 full seasons. Literally, the last 3-point shot, the last 3-point shot that Ray Allen has made was first quarter of Game 5 against the Spurs in that finals where the Spurs shot over 74% of the team.
Right.
That's the last time.
And randomly on a Tuesday, he just woke up saying, "I'm retired."
You know what I really think it was? I think the last 2 years has been a negotiation with teams, and I think he woke up and last night was in negotiation with a team and was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna happen. I think he was like, all right, I'm fine with it.
You know what I think actually happened? I think he woke up and said, "You know what? Shit, I never filed his paperwork."
He found the paperwork on it.
Shit! All these bills. What is this?
He opened it. He picked up his laptop because he had to go on a trip, and underneath there were them other. And he was
oh, son bitch! I didn't file my honey. I'm not actually retired yet.
Hey, babe. You know why we aren't getting these checks from the NBA? Because I never filed. I thought this letter was from the Jordan shoe deal that I never really did much with after my first 2 shoes. I didn't know that.
Damn.
I didn't know it was retirement letters. Let me call somebody.
I was wondering why TNT didn't call me. Shit.
I've been trying to coach and for the Bucks for a while, but they keep saying I'm active, and I was like, I swear I filled them out.
I would love to hear the reason why he like.
I really do. I think it was because he felt like he could probably sign with a team, get a couple minutes at the end of games or at the end of the season.
He could, but I just don't think he was saying yes to anybody.
What's funny is
just wasn't saying yes.
And I don't know if it's true or not. I read an article that him to Cleveland and him to Golden State stuff was never real, and the only 2 teams he I read that was never real. I heard that the only 2 teams he actually was ever in negotiation with, which one's way out of left field, the Phoenix Suns. I don't understand where that came from, but the other one, the Milwaukee Bucks. I read that they're the only 2 teams that he actually considered coming back for.
That's adorable. I'm coming home.
I guess the quote out of his direct mouth was he never talked to Golden State or Cleveland, which is crazy.
I'm calling bullshit on that. Unless you consider not talking to LeBron, not talking to Cleveland.
Right. Because
I know good LeBron called him up.
We're not talking to Steph. Isn't talking to Cleveland.
Yeah, LeBron didn't text you up say, Ray. Remember that time? Remember that time you saved me, bro? Yo, come on over, man. We can do this. Yo, you see this bench now. You gonna, bro, garbage time. You gonna have like 2 minutes. You can get another one of these things.
I kept James Jones on the roster so you could sit next to him.
Right. Remember your boy James?
You know your boy James that used to talk to?
Yo, y'all about to get real tight.
Remember that you used to talk to on the bench all the time when you were cooling off out in Miami? You remember James? You remember the dude that always sat at the end of the bench? You remember him? I got him here too.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
I brought him.
That conversation never happened.
Probably.
So that's what he means. I get it.
But now, contract negotiations, I think, is what he said. So I'm with you. He probably talked to LeBron. He probably talked to a couple people inside of Golden State as well. And I would have liked, honestly, even as a LeBron fan, I would have loved to seen him sign with Golden State last year or this year. And I'd love to seen him with that team. Oh, it would have been so fun. It would have been so fun.
We got the Splash Brothers and Splash Dad.
It would be Splash Grandpa.
Grandpa.
But it's funny. All the memes now going around. There's like one remains, and it's Paul Pierce from that draft class. I laugh so hard every time I see what really because Paul Pierce ain't gonna play half the year anyways, and he announced he retired at the end of the year. Like literally, they haven't come up with the medical reason of why he ain't dressed in the last 5 games. I'm just throwing it out there. It just says questionable next to him, and then he comes out. He came out in a hippie costume the other day.
Remember, he's like, it's cold. I ain't doing this shit.
he plays in L.A. I don't. He just ain't playing. I don't know.
Catch y'all in February.
Exactly. That's all that is. They're gonna keep him for he's getting that superstar treatment.
So you're saying he's gonna make
that old man superstar treatment.
So you say he's gonna sit on the bench in his suit for half the year. He's gonna give up to the All-Star game saying thank you.
Oh, yes.
I hate NBA fans.
I really do. I think he is.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. I mean, Magic Johnson got to the All-Star game without even suiting
up. It's Magic Johnson.
I hear you.
It's Kobe Bryant. It's Shaquille O'Neal. Even freaking Allen Iverson.
No, same thing. Yes, absolutely.
It's Michael Jordan.
I hear you.
I don't.
Well, Jordan's numbers actually deserve.
It's going to happen to
LeBron. Jordan had All-Star numbers going into that break though.
Ray Allen.
Paul Pierce.
Yeah, I'd rather see Ray Allen get in it. That'd be entertaining. Just let me get a 3.
What logo goes on his jersey? Like, who does he wear? Celtics, Heat, Bucks. Maybe he wears Suns.
Maybe
sign a 1-day contract and retire as a Sun. The day before the All-Star break. Obviously.
I mean, he's a shooter. They're just gonna give him the ball. I'd be cool with that.
I'd still like to see him in the 3-point contest.
They should do that.
He could probably be
Clay. Somebody was saying that. They were saying that on TNT. Somebody else.
Him versus Clay would be fun.
People were saying that should actually be a thing where you bring back these legends into the 3-point contest, especially because these dudes can still shoot.
Larry Bird still says that he could probably compete in the 3-point contest. He said he doesn't think he'd win it. He said he doesn't think he'd win it. He thinks he can compete in it.
Then have a legends section. It doesn't even have to be against the current dudes.
I've heard Reggie Miller say he thinks he can win one I think it was last year, the year before. He thinks he can win against NBA players today.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it regardless, but that'd be nice.
It would be fun.
That'd be nice.
It would be fun. Speaking of the NBA, quickly before we get out of here, the NBA announced that they are going to do an award show. They're the last of the 4 major sports to not have an award show. The NFL has the NFL honors, the NHL has the NHL awards, and the MLB has their award show. The thing I don't like about the other award shows is that the MVP is announced there. What I really like about the NBA is that the MVP is announced and then you have your home press conference. Like the KD press conference was like my mom's Mom, you're the real MVP. Okay, but that press conference never happens with this now. Like, you know what I mean? That happened on Mother's Day. Like that kind of moment doesn't happen with the way they're doing this. Now the way they're doing it, he's going to get an award on stage and he's going to speak in front of a bunch of his peers, not the media. I like the press conference version better. Because there's going to be questions asked, so I like that better than how they're going to do this. But B, I don't watch any of the awards.
That's what I was about to say. Who the hell watches these other than sports writers?
I really enjoyed the fact of giving it to them right there on the court or giving it to them right there in the locker room. I like that way better than this whole award show idea.
Half this shit's leaked before the damn show anyway.
As the team that wins the championship, how excited are you going to be to sit there through an award show and watch everybody else and then you get celebrated at the end of the night? It's just, I don't get it. The whole award show for these things are pointless. I'm
good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So, NBA, we disagree with this idea. That was JD Sports. Thank you for watching. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight Garfield.